Hi everyone, this is Jacque Williams and I wanted to share with you today a few of the features of the brand new Stampin' Up! Trimmer. I just opened mine up and I'm quite excited to give it a try. So first of all, just wanted to explain that the previous trimmer, the reason why it was discontinued is the manufacturer just one day decided that they didn't want to manufacture them anymore. So Stampin' Up! Was left a bit in the lurch. The new trimmer wasn't quite ready, but the manufacturer wasn't quite or wasn't willing to produce the other one anymore. So we've had a little bit of a gap with no trimmer, but I feel like Stampin' Up! Has done a really great job of getting this one out as quickly as they could. So it's not yet available for customers. I'm filming this the first part of October, but hopefully will be available sometime November, but don't quote me on that. It will be available as soon as there's adequate inventory in all the warehouses. So first, just wanted to point out that we've got an extra wide base on this trimmer, so it's nice and sturdy when you're cutting, which is fantastic. On the bottom, you'll see that it's got quite a few little rubbery-like feet to keep it from slipping and sliding. And the cutting arm, it doesn't have a little locking mechanism like the previous one, but it has a little like a little nib there, so it does click down, but it's not like locked down, so it won't generally fall open when you're transporting it. And also the cutting arm, or the long arm for cutting longer things, locks into place, and it has a little foot on it. But this one doesn't. The previous one opened up, and there was a danger of, if you accidentally transported it with the foot out, that it could snap off. But this one's just part of the whole mold, so it's not going to do that. And then this also, see how it just clicks into place. So therefore, when you're transporting it or putting it into your cupboard, this won't fall open and potentially snap off either. So that's a really good feature. Now, also wanted to point out, which is one of my favorite things, is here where the body of the trimmer and the arm meet. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a very little gap where there isn't markings, which is fantastic. So there's a little, quite a bit less guesswork in between there, where the previous one there's a little bit larger of a gap. Well, I mean, we work around these things, but it's really great when they're, improved and even better. Now, also want to point out that across the top here, you have your imperial measurements. You also have your metric measurements, and also down here at the bottom. And bonus, we have now a ruler across the middle, which you might be wondering, how does that benefit me? But if you're cutting a long piece of paper, you can line it up here, as per normal, and then you can also check it down here to make sure you have it lined up all the way down and your cut's going to be perfectly straight. But also, if you have a slightly shorter piece, you can then line it up top and at this point as well, or if it's long, you can measure up or line up all three. But it's just really great to have that kind of triple check option there as well. You also have a ruler down this plastic piece. It might be a little hard to see with my table here and the clear plastic, but there are measurements down this kind of cutting arm as well, so that you can position your trimmer, your blade, exactly. If you're making like a slit or something and not cutting just all the way through, you can line it up here. Now on this portion here, it's only in inches, and I'm guessing it's because there's really only the one surface and they had to pick one or the other. So if you use metric, you'll just need to do a little conversion for those probably not super common instances where you're using this ruler as well. We can work around that. Also wanted to point out, this arm is significantly longer than any other trimmer I've ever owned. So you can measure it all the way to a bit more than 17 inches or about 44 centimeters, which is really nice and generous. Love that feature. And we have also a bit of a ruler on this side, so that if you're cutting small strips, you can cut on the right hand side as well, or even slightly larger strips. So you can put it down here and use this to lock down your paper so it doesn't wiggle, and then you'll cut and you can have the little strips coming off of this side. Because this is relatively thick on the left side, I have found it's quite clumsy to cut, say, a ½ inch strip using this side of the ruler. Much easier using that side. So it's great that we have, you know, a pretty good little distance there for small pieces. And also you'll notice that this little cutting groove here, in the previous trimmer and other trimmers that I have used and even have, that this little cutting place is a separate piece which needs to be replaced, or even has the potential of falling out, which is why previous arms have completely locked down to try and keep that little mat in place, which is fine, but having it just part of it is possibly even a step better. The only thing that I'll mention is that you will need to keep this clean. You know, just clean it out from time to time. That will help keep your blades sharp and your cutting nice and crisp and not fuzzy. It's just part of the equation there. So you might want to have just a little toothbrush in your craft room to just scrub that out and get all the little bits of lint out of there from time to time. Now, as far as the blades, you have a cutting blade, which is the dark colored, and you have the scoring blade, the lighter gray. My personal experience is that if you want to do some scoring, that you just take this blade, the cutting blade, completely off, because it's really easy to make a mistake. You may prefer to have the scoring blade off and out of the way as well, particularly if you're cutting things that are 12 inches or even longer than 12 inches, just to have that out of the way. Now the blades, they come out down here. I know you probably won't be able to see it. Yeah, you can't really see it on the video. There's a little spot there where the plastic arm here has a little gap, and so you just kind of open those out just very slightly, and then these will pop in and out. But I also wanted to point out, let's see if you can see it, these blades are quite a bit bigger than the other blades, and you have blade on both sides, so you can cut coming down and you can also cut going up, or if you just prefer one way or the other, then when it starts to go dull, you can just turn the blade around and insert it the other direction to get a nice sharp blade again, because we want to get, you know, maximum use and value out of our blades. On that note, the replacement blades come in packs of 4 now, so you'll notice that the price point's a little bit higher. Well, it is higher, but you are getting double the amount of blades, so it makes sense. Let's see. And then the last thing I want to point out about the blades is, let's see if I can get a good image of it. There is a little a mark, an arrow on the top of the blade handle, and that tells you exactly where the tip of the blade is. So if you're doing slits or certain scoring that, you know, isn't just slicing all the way through and you need to go just to a certain point, you can see exactly where that blade is cutting to or starting from. Hopefully that makes sense. But if you ever do a project like that, you'll know exactly what I mean, and that will be invaluable. All right, so I think that's everything I wanted to share about the new trimmer. I'm quite excited to use this and to share it with you. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. See you later. Bye.